were always saying we would make it to the get-go. In the end, it came when you wrote my name on the bedroom stone. If the photograph doesn't bring you back, if the final chapter isn't ever after.
Hi guys.
I remember waking up.
I don't have much time on the music. Let's just go. Let's go. Hi, it's the Truth Fairy. Live from the fairy farm. My wings are fucked up. It is what it is. Here's my outfit. Sort of. I mean, I don't know if you can really see it. But I have a tutu on. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. All right. So, happy Sunday, everybody. I'm hopping on to say hello. It's Sunday. I hope everyone's having a good day. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys today about 6 wars. Well, actually, there's a hidden false flag, and we'll talk about that in a minute when I get into it. But the difference between false flags and psyops, because people don't seem to know the difference and what it actually means, what these terms mean, it's important to know what they mean. And also, there's 7 false flags that got us into 6 wars. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into it. I'm actually going to bring my girlfriend Danielle on. Oh, gosh. See, I'm not good with this technology. Let's see. Let's see. Danielle, how do I bring you on here? You might be right. I don't know if I can bring you on here. Let's see. How does that work? I don't see the button. Let's see. Danielle, I'm sure you're here. Can you send me? I would like to join the live stream. Let's see. Let's see. I don't see how to do it. And I'm not seeing your guys, I'm not seeing any comments. Dashboard. Okay. Present. Yay. Okay. So, let's see. No. Okay. That doesn't work. Okay. Let's see. No. How do I add you? How do I add you to the stream? You're right. Wait. Okay. Danielle, you shared my stream. How do I add you to the stream? You're right. I can't figure it out. It is a problem. All right. Danielle is going to come on here and do this with me. I don't know, Danielle. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go. And if we figure it out, we'll figure it out. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the difference between a false flag and a psyop. Because there is a difference and it's important to know the difference. Basically, the term false flag came from pirates. It came from pirates. Sorry. I'm gonna fuss. I'm gonna fuss for a while, guys. I'm really tired. So I might fuss a little bit. Anyways, okay, so false flag came from came from pirates. And what the pirates used to do is they used to carry flags from all sorts of other trade ships. British, Spanish, Portuguese, I'm sure I'm missing some. Dutch, maybe. And what they would do is they would throw up a flag based on whoever was there that they wanted to commandeer the ship up. So if it was a British ship that was transporting goods for the Queen or the King or whatever of England into the new Americas, like the Caribbean, basically. But even India, I mean, all over, right? All over the seas. They would put up the friendly flag as if it is a friendly ship. And then when they got close enough, they would commandeer the ship, and that's a false flag. You're pretending to be something that you're not to get something that you want. And it usually, I mean, well, the term came from naval. So it refers to the ocean battles in the sea, not on land, on the sea, across countries, right? So that's and a psyop is a mental, cognitive operation to get you to support something that you maybe wouldn't support, like 9/11 and supporting. Well, we can go into that later. That went into another war, right? But Danielle, I'm sorry. I don't know how to get you on here. Let me see if I can add you. Add tools. Alerts, comments, insights. I don't see it. Okay, so you're right. I need to get StreamYard or something else. Harsh, you probably know. All right, so then PSYOPs are psychological operations. That's what it stands for. And it gets you to agree to something that you wouldn't agree to normally. And it usually has to do with taking away your rights. They're taking away a freedom, a right, by doing a PSYOP. You can call it a PSYOP, or you can call it Hegelian dialect. It's the same thing. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. You react to it with fear and, oh my God, what are we going to do? Trepidation. The media plays a huge part in this, right? In creating mass fear with everybody. And then they come up with the solution for you. And it always involves taking away your rights. Privacy, guns, beliefs, personal beliefs, everything that's in the Constitution, all your rights, everything. It's always to take more control. Because let's face it, all the elites want to do, it's all about power and control. All of it. All of it's about power and control. So I might read a little bit here. But basically I want to discuss the 6 wars that got us, well, 7 false flags got us into 6 wars. Okay? Let's start with the USS Maine. The USS Maine got us into the Spanish-American War. This happened on February 15th, 1898. I have a great Mark Twain quote about the Spanish-American War. Oh my God, he's brilliant. We really didn't know how great Mark Twain was when we were kids and we read Huckleberry Finn, but fucking amazing. He was such a great man. He really was. He's creative and fun and brilliant. But like awake. He was awake. He was definitely awake. So, okay. The Spanish-American War happened and was supported by the American population because of one false flag that happened. See, the Rockefellers wanted the sugar. They they wanted the sugar mills in Cuba. And they were all owned by the Spanish that took over Cuba. The Rockefellers wanted that sugar, right? It's all about the price of sugar. But what happened was that the USS Maine was blown up. And they worked with Hearst, the newspaper guy. They worked with William Randolph Hearst to coordinate a psyop based on the false flag to the American people through the media to say that, look at the USS Maine with all of our American soldiers were on that ship. I think it was 198 who perished in that. I could be fuzzy on that. But over 100 men died on this ship. Okay, enough to get enough people outraged in the United States that pick up the paper and read it. But they said that the Cubans, or the Spanish, right, in Cuba, they're the aggressors. They were the ones that bombed the ship. But that's not true. See, the false flag was that our government, our American government, bombed our own fucking ship and killed our own people. Because the Rockefellers, they wanted the sugar mills. So that's the truth. That's what happened. I mean, there's a little bit more in there. There's a lot of books that you can read about this. There's actually a false flag before this, and we'll talk about that later. But this is like the first one that got us into a war, and it was about a ship, right? And it was sitting in the harbor, right? I think it was the Havana Harbor in Cuba, right? Yeah. Well, enough Americans were pissed off that, oh my gosh, how dare these Spanish Cubans, murder our people. Let's go to war. All for the price of sugar. All for the price of sugar. Because somebody wanted to own the sugar mills. And if the Rockefellers take over the sugar mills, it is going to bring the price of sugar down for the Americans. Let's just face it, that is true. But are they really doing us a favor by killing our own people just for their own selfish needs? I don't think so. I think everyone should know the truth. That they're gaslighting all of you. They're gaslighting us. And it still continues to this day. Okay, so that was the Spanish-American War and the false flag that led us to that war. It's all about sugar. The next one I'm going to talk about happened on May 7th, 1915. And this is the sinking of the Lusitania. Now, the Lusitania sinking got us into World War I. The Lusitania was a passenger ship from Britain. They were a British passenger ship that basically went from England to the United States, probably New York. I don't know. It might have had a few different ports, but it was coming from America back to England. And a German U-boat, they say it's U-20, sunk it. Well, that really did happen. The German U-boat did sink the ship. What you don't know about is that there was communication with the British intelligence and Roosevelt. Oh, everybody loves Roosevelt. Oh my God, he was such a great president. He got us out of a recession. He's the only president, by the way, that served 3 terms, which is technically not legal according to our Constitution, but in times of war, they can do whatever they want. which makes you really think about, do we really have rights? Do we really have a constitution? I don't know. I don't know. Does man really rule over another man? Really? I don't know. I don't know. I can't see any of your comments because I was trying to look for Danielle to bring her on here, and I just feel like a retard. I'm going to set up StreamYard, and I'm going to bring on guests, and we'll do that. Sorry, Danielle. I apologize. So, in any event, the Lusitania, the destruction of the Lusitania, that created American support to join Britain against Germany. Against Germany. World War I. But there was a lot going on in World War I, let's just face it. But that brought America into the war. And let's see, how many Americans died? I don't know. Hundreds. Like 198. It was like the propaganda here in the United States was the Germans want to kill women and children because this was a passenger ship. So definitely women and children did die. But they could have stopped it. They didn't stop it because they didn't want to stop it. Because they wanted, this was a British way to get America to join in the war. Or they were really working together. They were in cohort. Winston Churchill and Roosevelt, they were in cohort on this one, by the way. Okay. The next one I'm going to talk about is Pearl Harbor, which is also Roosevelt. Oh, he was so great. He was such a great president. He got us into 2 wars on purpose. For money and greed. Power. That's what they do. All right, so Pearl Harbor, World War II. Okay? There's a lot of communication that happened prior to the bombing. Roosevelt actually knew. He actually knew that it was going to be bombed. Almost a day before it happened. And he did nothing. He actually told everybody to stand down. He told all of the communication officers and everybody to pretend like, oh no, this didn't happen. And he told them all to stand down. Why? I'll tell you why. Because it's a false flag. Because war is big business for these people, and there's always an agenda, and it's always about money and power. Okay? So he actually is responsible. Roosevelt, along with several other dignitaries, is responsible for your relatives dying in Pearl Harbor. Oh, he was such a great president. Let's talk about how he saved us out of the Dust Bowl and the recession and, oh my God, the Depression. Oh, give me a fucking break. Bullshit. It's always about greed. It's always about money. Always. I don't care about us. Ever. Okay. So that was, what, the third false flag? Okay. Let's go to the fourth. The fourth, actually, there's no battleship destruction in the fourth one that I'm going to discuss, and that's the Korean War. This happened in 1950, and there is no battleship destruction, but that doesn't mean it's not a false flag. It still led to a war, okay? So this is where we kind of go off of, like, it having to deal with a naval ship, but most of the time, that's where the term came from, false flag, is having to do with naval ships and starting wars based on that, and it came from piracy. Okay? Roosevelt had a treaty with Stalin. And the UN, and they divided up Korea into North and South Korea, just like they did with Germany, with West Germany and East Germany, right? That's exactly the same thing that they did with Korea. So Roosevelt said to Stalin, I will let you have North Korea and you can do whatever you want with it. But me and the UN, we're taking South Korea. Okay? And then there was some stipulations in there. He had to join the war. Stalin was supposed to join the war against Japan. Okay? Well, Stalin agreed to all this. Put Kim Il-sung, I don't know, Kim Il-sung in charge of North Korea, right? Fostered the communist agenda. And he agreed to all this. And then he said, I'm not going to, he basically said, yeah. I'll join you in Japan, you know. But he had like a different alliance with Japan. He pulled in 5 days before it was all over. He's like, oh, I'm here. Russia didn't do anything with the treaty with Japan. I mean, Russia was just like, see, I told you I was going to pull in. But he waited until 5 days until it was like almost, and it was over. I'm laughing because this is the truth, and these people are fucking maniacs. And people still believe in these people. Like, I don't want to throw patriotism under the bus because in my heart, I'm a patriot. I love America. But let's just be honest about it all. Please, let's just be honest about it all. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so that's not like a full like naval destruction ship false flag, right? But it is a false flag because it got us into a war inadvertently through a treaty with Stalin, who didn't really like take our part of the bargain into like real consideration. He didn't do anything with Japan. Let's just face it. He showed up just to like show up. Like, here, see, I helped me into the bargain. No, you didn't. But it's okay. It's all based on a lie anyways. All right. So I said that there was 7 false flags that got us into 6 wars. 5, there was 2. There was 2 events that led us into the Vietnam War that were actual false flags. Okay? In the Gulf of Tonkin, there was 2 U.S. destroyers that on August 2nd and August 4th, one ship and another ship allegedly were attacked and there was a torpedo. Neither ship was damaged. Neither ship was hit. There was radio calls. There was a lot of radio calls. And oh, by the way, this year was 1964. So August 2nd, 1964 and August 4th, 1964. 2 U.S. destroyers in the Gulf of Tonkin were allegedly attacked by torpedoes from the Viet Cong, right? Vietnamese, the North, right? Well, we fired back. We fired back on the shore, and that's what brought us into the war. But there was more behind that, and I can't go into like all of the details. I'm not fully prepared, but there's a lot more. Well, there's a lot more about all of these wars, but these are just like the basic false flags that led us into a war that we should have never been in. And they do this because that's the only way to get the United States population, along with all of our support, our allies, to back it up and go, oh, yeah, we need to. So that's what they do. That's a false flag. It's piracy. It really is. Truly. You guys are voting for pirates, just so you know. Keep voting. Anyways, okay. So 2 destroyers, not necessarily hit. In fact, unfortunately, Danielle, I don't know how to add you, but I think Danielle and I will do another show maybe this week, and I'll bring her on, and maybe we can call the whistleblower on this one. Danielle, let's do that. Let's call the whistleblower. Let's talk to him. Let's get him on the phone. Let's get him on a live. And we can discuss this about how there was no torpedoes. It was like a fake call. And they started shooting on the shore. It never happened. Or there was a torpedo that just purposely was programmed to miss both boats on 2 different days. I don't know. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of books that you can read. You're not going to get this in university. You really, unless you're taking a class that isn't funded. I don't know. You can't learn about this in a funded university, like a funded, I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe there's like cool teachers out there. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so that's Vietnam. And that was a fucking brutal war, by the way. It was brutal. My late father was there for 2 years. He was a corpsman. He was a Navy corpsman. And it was pretty quickly, it was like after the first day of that job, that he wanted to transfer into the boat and be a medic assistant for the rest of his stay. He didn't get his transfer for 6 months. And I'm actually writing a book about him and his stories and all of that. It's very fascinating. 2 years in Vietnam is a long time. It's a long time for any war, I think. To be in that environment for that long, it's tough. All right, and then the last one I was going to address with you guys today, and then I'm going to look at comments, is Iraq. Iraq, again, was not a false flag in the traditional sense that there was no destruction of a naval ship to start the war. It was WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. That is what got all of Bush's base to go, woo, let's go to war. Okay, there's whistleblowers that say that the British intelligence was behind planting evidence that Colin Powell on, what day was it? February 5th of 2003, Colin Powell addressed the nation, and then Bushy, baby Bush, avenging his father's, like, the first Iraq war that didn't go so well. He was like avenging his father with this one, I think. Then he addressed the nation that we were going to war, right? And the WMDs and all that. So that wasn't a false flag in the traditional sense, but it was a false flag, and it got us into a war that we should have never been in. None of them. We didn't be in any of these wars, by the way. It's big business, and it's always about money, power, control. Always. Always. Oh, and I might add that Bush Sr., as far as I know, he very, very, very closely tied to the CIA. I think he ran it for a while, if I'm not mistaken. He actually is the only president that, after serving his term, 4 years, his one term, thank God. Although he was president, by the way, when we thought Reagan was president. He was really running things as vice president, just so you all know. Reagan's really not that bad of a guy. Reagan actually tried to oppose Bush, and I think, this is my opinion, but this is why I think that there was hits on his life. I mean, he should have probably been like JFK situation. But, oh, And Bush Sr. might be behind the JFK situation too. I mean, he was evil. But he's the only president that I know of, and somebody can correct me, that continued to get the CIA daily report every single day of what is going on in the CIA. A fax machine every single morning, 600 hours. I went to his house, and he was still monitoring everything that was going on in the CIA up until his death. I don't know any other president that cared that much. I mean, Bill Clinton, I really can't picture him being concerned about what's going on in the CIA. I think his wife has got a handle on that. But but in all fairness, yeah. Something to think about. Something to think about. I think that it was really his father's war, not really W's war. I don't think W cares. I really don't. I don't think W cares. Have you guys ever noticed that George W. and Michelle, have this weird thing that they do, and you see them on live events. They're really like kids together. Like, they stand next to each other and they poke each other, and then he's always giving. Michelle Obama is always reaching into her pocket and giving Bush a mint or a candy or some sort of a sweet treat from her pocket. It's a little strange. It's a little strange. It's fucking weird shit going on. Weird fucking shit going on. I don't understand any of it. It's just there. These people are fucked up, and you guys vote for them. Anyways, I'm kidding. I know that you guys don't vote for them. But it's the truth. All right, I'm going to go to comments. I don't even know how to get to comments. This is so weird. Everything's blocked out. Okay, maybe I do this, and then I can see comments. How weird. I don't know what to do. Okay, here's comments. Refresh. All right. I only see one comment. How weird. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. Okay. Eva Tayatari, I'm from America. I mean, I'm from the United States of America. Where do you live in? Texas. You are so cute. Thank you. I love your opinion. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, good glasses. Okay. Are you trolling me? This is annoying. Okay. Do I have anybody else here? Probably not. Hi, Latricia. I don't know if you're still here, but I'm saying hi. Oh, hi, John. Nice to see you. I love you too. Okay, so my friend John Wiggins says a global financial monopoly is behind false flags fomenting in wars. Well, that is very true. They're also all of the guys behind our currency. Committee of 300. The Trilateral Commission. The Bilderbergers. The UN. All of the alphabet organizations. The CIA, the MI6. Honestly, I trust the Russians more than I do anybody else in the world. Oh my God. It's just nuts. Okay, so Matthew says, what did we do wrong in Vietnam? We pulled out? Could you imagine our president using the sexual slang of a 12-year-old to describe his foreign policy? George Carlin on George Bush Sr. Well, George Bush, the Bushes and the Cheneys I call them the Dixie Mafia along with the Clintons because they are. But they're the war hawks. They're the war hawks. They all are. I mean, this whole like whatever Republicans, the war hawks, the conservative war hawks, and the Democrats weren't about that, and then they get Obama in office and they ignore all of the wars, the 6 wars that we went into under Obama. I'm confused. Trump pulled out of a lot of shit. He pulled out of a lot of shit. He did. He pulled out of a lot of shit. There was treaties that he didn't sign that everybody else would have wanted him to sign. You know, the Paris Accord Treaty. And there's like a lot of other stuff that Trump actually pulled out of. Not that he's not a puppet, but I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he had the United States of America's interest and us, the people, in a forefront of doing what's best for us, not them. So there's still things that he did that were against us, the people, too. So, you know, they've got a gun to their head. There's only so far that they can go. But I think that Trump really was a wild card. I don't know. I mean, he's still a puppet. The whole birther thing is proof that he was still playing a game with all of it. Okay, so I don't know how far I am. A Tootie roll? I don't know what that is. He was a high-ranking official in the CIA at the time of the JFK assassination, absolutely. Yeah, so that's Bush Sr., he's evil. He's the soulless one. They say he's reptilian. Allegedly. I can't actually comment on this, but I'll do that on another show. I'll do that at a different time. I don't know. Do I have anyone watching me? Is anybody here? I just, I feel bad. I was going to get Danielle on here, and I feel really bad that I'm sorry, Danielle. Next time we'll figure it out. And I started so early. I don't know why it didn't do that. I don't know why I can't figure it out. But anyways. Oh, I've got 4 viewers. Yay. Thanks. Do you guys want to see my outfit? You want to see my tutu? Here, I'll show you my tutu. Okay. Well, here. There you go. See, I'm wearing a tutu. I'm still a fairy, even though I'm talking about George Bush. So evil. So fucking evil. So if anyone wanted to know if I was like this huge like Republican Trump supporter because I do all these memes bashing the Democrats and the liberals, I'm not, okay? I'm an equal opportunity shit poster. I mean, I will really, when it comes to politics, I really am. But you liberals you're special. At this point, I mean, let's just face it. All right, so Matt, it's like you're the only person commenting. You're the only one here. It's all right. I don't know. I'm having fun. I have fun doing this. I really do. I really do. But so, do you guys want to talk about modern psyops? There is some modern psyops going on. Well, was 9/11 a false flag or a psyop or both? It might have been both. It might have been both. I think it was both. Because the psyop was to take away our right to privacy, right? We all just said, oh yes, please, the Patriot Act. We need protection from these evil Muslims. Bullshit. The Muslims aren't evil, okay? That's bullshit. Yes, there's evil Christians too. There's evil Muslims. Fundamentalists and cults are all crazy, but your government, I don't care what country you're in, is evil. More evil than some radical religion. It's all the same. It really is. It is. It's all the same. But was it a psyop or was it a false flag? Both, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. Hi, Elizabeth. 93 was the FBI, Mark. I don't know what you're talking about. 93 was the FBI. I don't know. I don't know. I just think for most people, it's easier to believe what the educational system has taught us, public education. So we can talk about that at another time because that's a big problem. University level, right? They don't want you to think for yourself. They're going to take your money and they're going to tell you what to think and they're going to say, this is a fact, and they're going to get enough of you to believe it. And because you gave them so much money, you're not going to want to admit that they lied to you at the university level. Or that they're all just communists. Not that being a capitalist is any better, but there has to be a better way. Communism isn't the way, nor is fascism. Maybe any ism I don't think is good, but maybe socialism down to a community level would work. But it can't be statewide. Once it becomes statewide, it becomes statist, and then it's a slippery slope. It's not going to work. We've tried it. I don't know. So many people are like, oh, we love Sweden. Sweden's great. It's the greatest example of socialism. Maybe it does work. I don't know. I guess that, in Sweden, you could actually just claim that you're a wizard and they give you a $50,000 a year paycheck for being a wizard. No degree required. So you know what? Maybe I should move to Sweden and just say I'm a fairy. Give me $50,000 a year. I don't know. Maybe socialism is the way to go. I don't know. It's all stupid. Nobody should be giving anybody else any money for shit that they're not getting in return. The state shouldn't be giving me money because I deem myself a fairy and I take care of, I go and pixie dust people, make them happy or make them sad. No, nobody should be doing that. I don't agree with that. No. Let's see, what else? Video was interrupted awful for me. Jill, we'll check that. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Sandy. But hi. Let's see, Mark says 2001 Boeing drones patent 93 was the first bombing. Okay, that's true. In Oklahoma, right? Timothy McVeigh. I want to do a whole show on these. Timothy McVeigh was a Delta programmed CIA asset. He was. All of these people are. All of these random people are. They're like CIA assets, the ones that go crazy. The school shootings, that's all orchestrated. Laura, if you're here, we were just talking about Sandy Hook and Alex Jones and how he lost that lawsuit. I don't know. Does the CIA pay the CIA, or does the CIA lose money from another CIA member when they go to court? Like, does Alex Jones, who's a member of the CIA, does he pay these other members that are CIA, even if it's like a court appointed, like, you owe us $300 million? So the CIA is paying the CIA? I don't think so. It's a distraction. My opinion, but that's what's going on there. I think it's a distraction. I do. I don't know. You guys can have a difference of opinion. I don't know. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Anyways, I don't know what else I was going to talk about. I guess that's really it. I don't know. I was really bummed because I really wanted Danielle to join me on this. I'm so sorry, Danielle. But I want to promote Danielle St. John. Now, Danielle St. John ran for political office. She actually ran for governor of California last year. But they walled her out. They walled her out because, which they took her off the ballot. Which I have another friend that ran for Senate of California. They did the same thing. But he got over 200,000 votes. So even if they wall you off the ballot, like, don't give up. I mean, but at the same time, what are we fighting for at this point with a system that we know is failing us? It's a fine line. But I support all of my warrior friends that are awake, that want to run for political office, that want to put themselves in that environment, because that can't be easy. It's sort of like becoming a cop in like Compton, maybe, in South Central, like Los Angeles, where I'm from, and then wanting to be like a good cop, like Training Day. Listen, that is the political atmosphere. It really is. It really is. Don't kid yourself. Don't be naive. Don't be naive. You know, until we get rid of this whole entire system and change it with lobbyists and all of this big money for campaigns, you can't trust any of it. They're not working for you. They're working for themselves. They're working for their own families, you know, and their own homes, you know, in Hyannisport. It's bullshit. All of it. It really is. They're not fighting for you. They've got agendas that they're trying to school you on and make you believe that aren't even real. Like global warming, climate change. Give me a break. I'm wondering if a flat earther is the reason that they had to change it from global warming to climate change. We can't prove that it's a globe. It's climate change. I don't know. You gotta look at all this shit. You really do. You gotta look at it all, and you gotta keep an open mind about it. You really do. Because even gravity theory is up for debate. It all is. All of it. All of it. That's true. So, anyways, I've been on here for almost an hour. Oh my God. Again? Wow. All right, let's see. John says, no defense evidence was allowed. For what? For 9/11? It was a sentence trial, not a guilt or innocence trial. Is that for 9/11 or for Timothy McVeigh? I don't know. Sure, I agree with you. Either way. Sure, I agree with you. But the difference, okay, so a PSYOP, let's just go there. Modern day PSYOPs, all of these school shootings, okay, with children, I mean, there are disturbed children out there, okay? There are. But a lot of it is orchestrated. A lot of it is orchestrated. A lot. And orchestrated in a way that it doesn't sound orchestrated or doesn't seem orchestrated because these children are Delta programmed. It's just like watching, there was a movie, it was a good movie. I liked it. American, God, I can't remember the kid that was in it. Michael Cera, I think. Just a brain fart. But basically, he was a CIA Delta asset. Yeah. They do that. They do that. There's a lot of them. And then they just go crazy because at age 30, they start to, their programming breaks down and they do go crazy. I think I was going to talk about this on my last live stream about the psychological breakdown of the MK Ultra, the mind control programming that's done by the CIA, and it most of the time involves satanic ritual abuse. A lot, and I mean a lot. I'm not going to say all, but most of our Hollywood entertainers, albeit music or actors, actresses, all of that, they are all, not all, they're programmed. They're assets. They work for the CIA. They're slaves. Their parents either sold them into the business and their parents got some sort of like money or compensation of some sort for selling their child, you know, and then, you know, ooh, my child's, you know, this big star, Macaulay Culkin, Britney Spears, all those Disney kids, the Barney kids too. Watching the Barney show with my kids when they were young, and I noticed that one of these like big singers was on the Barney show when she was very young. She was like 8. I can't think of her name. She's good, but she's big. But yeah, I mean, they start them young, and what they do to get them all messed up in the head and basically shatter their brain into a bunch of pieces that are programmable, and they work on key codes and triggers. And I'm sure one of you can tell me that there was a lot of these the people that assassinated, like, okay, it was I'm trying to think of their names. Sirhan Sirhan, who killed Robert Kennedy, right? Who was the guy that killed John Lennon? And then the Summer of Sam, the Sam guy, SOS, Summer of Sam. All 3 of them had like copies of Catcher in the Rye. Oh, the guy that killed JFK too. Catcher in the Rye. I mean, they use these like lines in literature, and like they used Wizard of the Oz, they used Frank Baum, J.D. Salinger. You know, it'd be interesting is if they used any of, if they ever used George Orwell. Would be like, let's use George Orwell. Let's use 1984. I'm sure that they can do anything. They can program it any way they want in their underground bases in NASA. Oh yes, they can. CIA did RFK, yeah, right? And then there's always a patsy. And the patsy is the programmed Delta, you know, yeah, killed Lennon. David Chapman. Okay, yes. And I believe it was Catcher in the Rye that most of these guys had a copy of in like their possession. And then, or there might have been a different one. I don't know. Tracy says, it's a spiritual warfare battle. Always has been. Hence, Stranger Things. Absolutely, it's a spiritual battle. Absolutely, Tracy. I agree with you 100%. It is. It is. And as an adult, as a programmed CIA asset slave, if you will, well, we're all kind of slaves, but at any given point, you have an option as an adult. I believe that everyone does get this like opportunity to change their destiny or confront what's in front of them. But most of these programmed assets will either continue the behavior so they become pedophiles, because that's what happened to them when they were children, to program them. And it's really sick, by the way. It's not for the faint of heart to learn about this shit. It's awful. It's horrible what was done to these people. What is being done to these babies. But as an adult, they have authority at some point over their own lives. And that's why we have whistleblowers. And, but do you really want to come out against something and be basically putting your life, your children's lives, your family's life, all of your livelihood, everything that you have in jeopardy? I mean, I would, because I would rather be dead than live as a slave like that. I just think it would be horrible. But there's a lot of fear that goes into keeping these people in line, and it's usually around 21 that you start to notice that, okay, this person's suffering from schizophrenia or MPD or DID, but that's their breakdown, the psychological breakdown of their brain, like trying to it's a psychological breakdown of all the trauma that's happened to them. That's what we're seeing. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but every celebrity that comes out of a breakdown, like Britney Spears, Katy Perry, Kanye West, even, they come out of a breakdown, and I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but they'll be like, they had to go away for rest for 3 days, exhaustion, dehydration. These are the things they say. They go away for 3 days, and then when they come back, their hair is white. Their head is white. Bleach their hair blonde. Bleach their head. That is a symbol to the rest of the world. They've been successfully reprogrammed, and they're okay to be seen in public again and to get interviews and all. Like we've successfully reprogrammed them, by the way, just to let you know. I could do a whole show on this, but this is a different topic. But the CIA, all of these intelligence agencies, for the most part, have been used for nefarious reasons. I don't think that everybody involved is evil. I think that they get caught up in the system and they don't want anything to happen to their families. It's sad. Anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to hop off here because I'm actually going to go over to Freedomizer Radio and call in and listen to Danielle on her show, and Ty, if he's on there, and listen to what they have to say. And then hopefully I'll get this figured out and Danielle can join me on my next show. Anyways, it was so nice to see you guys all. And I don't know, hopefully something to think about. I didn't really get to all your comments, so I apologize for that. But we don't talk about these false flags much and the difference between the false flags and the psyops. So, I don't know. I think it's a good discussion. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. I'm signing out from the Fairy Farm. Truth Fairy out.